Welcome to the Common Thread podcast. I'm Jennifer O'Neill.
And I'm Byron Jackson.
And this is a place where we listen to stories and try to find the common thread that runs through all of us. We are here today with Toni from Lazarus Community. In today's episode, we will talk with Toni about her experience regarding being unhoused, how she's grown through that experience, and the process of living at Lazarus Community, and what things are like.
Hi, Toni.
Hello.
Welcome. And welcome to being open to sharing a little bit about yourself and coming into our space with us. And so, thank you.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure.
It's probably strange having people that you don't know suddenly have like this interest in your story. But I believe that we all have stories. And it takes a lot of courage to come in and go, hey, I will share my story because maybe my story can help somebody else in their story.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Jan, how you doing?
I'm good.
You are?
I'm excited to have Toni. I get to see Toni usually about once a week over at Lazarus Community doing yoga. And I would love to hear about you and how you grew up and a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was orphaned at 6 years old.
Where were you at?
I lived on the south side of Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And my mother had a brain aneurysm. And I went to a few family members, and they just didn't have time for a child. So I ended up in foster care, and it was a good experience for me. I did move around a lot, but a lot of people do. I was emancipated at 17, and I was married for the first time at 19, and that lasted 15 years. And then I was married again, and through that experience, I found myself fleeing my spouse because it was a bad situation. So
now going back to your first, did you work at all outside the home?
No, I did not. I was a housewife.
Housewife. Now, do you have children?
I do. I do have 2 children, and they're both adults.
So adults.
Yes. And I'm estranged from them at the moment, but I'm hoping that they haven't given up on their mom yet, and they'll be able to come and be a part of my life really soon.
So estranged is that they won't have contact with you?
Yes, yes.
Now, how long has that been?
Well, it's been a long time. It really has.
Did they live with you and your husband?
My first husband, yes, both of them did. They have different fathers. My daughter, she's the oldest. And when we were after our divorce, she had to come to me with some really bad news. So me and her new stepmother raced to the Cleveland County Sheriff's Department to report abuse that she was going through. And the abuser was my son's father. So it was a lot of chaos that ensued. I had a job where I was working in law enforcement, and by the end of 2013, I had found myself with this new person who he basically destroyed my life. I mean, he went right into destroying everything I'd worked for. And it's like he kept me in a bedroom where nobody really knew where I was for a long time. And then 3 years ago, I finally was brave enough to climb out of it because he really had humiliated me as a person and dragged me down into a hole that I thought I'd never get out of.
And then your self-esteem, even to leave, was hard because you were so beat down.
That's probably right. That's right.
Well, and that's a hard situation to go through with your daughter also. And
it is.
And seeing that she had been abused by somebody
Yes.
that you knew, and
Trust it.
yeah, that in and of itself is.
You know, just kind of going back over it, the things that stick out to me is really you were traumatized by losing your mom and being homeless. And so not being able to connect with a father
And family members.
So, I mean, you were starting off with one leg just from the beginning.
Yes. Yes, I was. I've been very successful at getting back on my feet every time I needed to. I'm very mentally strong. But this last time I needed some help.
What happened when you crawled out with your second husband?
Well, I was homeless, so I bounced all over town trying to avoid trouble and conflict.
So tell me about, like, homeless. What is that?
Homeless is
For you?
sleeping behind a building, not taking showers for weeks at a time, avoiding street violence, being around people that are just kind of hopeless. You know, they kind of have lost their humanity. And it's gritty. The streets are very gritty. And you gotta put your feelings aside because it'll eat you up. I mean,
If you're a sensitive person,
yes.
it's not a good place for you.
No, it's not a place for a lady. So I had to put her way back down inside me, and I had to march forward and figure it out.
Were there places that you found refuge?
Once or twice I did, but it didn't turn out well. You know, it was fueled by people that, participate in street violence and narcotics, abuse. I mean, I was labeled as homeless, so I was just glutton for punishment just because I was homeless and had nobody perceivingly caring about me, kind of feeling like a wild animal, not having nowhere to go, no money. I refused to worry about money until I could get off the street. I ate out of dumpsters.
I could see how you would feel that if you did have money, you might just be taken advantage of, or it might be.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And I mean, for somebody to think that $5 is a gift, and everybody needs money to survive, but you don't need it to be a good person. So like, I ran a lot because I would not give in to any of them. I had people deliberately say I had no choice but to do what I was told to do. And I would just wait for them to go to sleep and just run off and find somewhere else to hang out. So I just exactly what I did.
Now, I know you've just met me. If you knew me for a while, this next question would not throw you off at all. Being new, so I keep getting stuck on the shower part because I would be homeless. I could be homeless except for I need the shower. And the bathroom, what do you do for like going to the bathroom?
Well, a lot of the businesses, they don't allow homeless people in them.
Yeah.
Your backpack has to be left at the door. So, occasionally I would find a gallon of water and I'd find some place that nobody was really looking at. And, you just take sponge baths or you just don't bathe at all. So you're never really going inside anywhere. And everyone that you're really associating with is in the same boat. So you just kind of take sponge baths, you just get a wet rag.
What about going to the bathroom?
Oh, that happened outside a lot.
A lot.
A lot.
So would you have toilet paper?
Sometimes.
But sometimes no.
Sometimes no. Use newspaper. You get a couple of paper towels out of the 7-Eleven, and you just put them in your backpack and you keep marching. That's right, you do.
That would rip my butt. Like,
I know that's right.
Yeah.
So you talked about some things that weren't helpful. Did you ever come across anything or any people that were helpful?
No, not until I recently, like 6 months ago, I met these people at the Lazarus community, and I was scared, and I was I was terrified of, continuing being on the streets. I stopped at nothing to be grateful and make my place right inside as thanks for helping me off the streets. So
how did you find out about them?
I finally made it over to their area, and somebody said, "Hey, you can come to this church and have lunch. Why don't you come have lunch? It's right over here," and it's a homeless man. And I did. So I went in there for about 2 weeks, and then they could see that, I had potential, and they felt like it was the right thing to do, and they wanted to do it. And they had me fill out an application. And a month after that, I was able to pass a drug test for them and move in.
Took you a month to get clean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was your drug of choice?
Well,
I guess if you're homeless, you don't have a choice, do you?
No, not really. No, I did whatever kept me running and awake. So I can honestly say, it's a little embarrassing because where I came from, but there wasn't anything that I hadn't tried. And now that I'm out of it, like, it's pretty terrifying to actually talk about.
To think stuff that you did.
Mm-hmm.
So I relate to that. Just, it's at the time you don't think about it, but far away you go, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah,
There's a question I was going to ask you. How has not having a home impacted your daily life and sense of identity of who you are?
Well, I had to go at it as a whimsical view, period. Because if I sat down and started crying about it, it would give all those people that stomped on my life credit for my recovery, and they get nothing. And I will laugh at it until the end of time.
So you actually have a sense of humor about it.
Yes, I do.
It's a great survival technique. If you I've read about groups that have been oppressed throughout history, and humor has actually been what has helped them to survive.
That's right.
I could become a comedian to the homeless. You were going to ask something?
So as you've gotten in with Lazarus Community, have there been things that you've had to give up? Have you received things have you gotten health care and services that you hadn't had before?
Oh, yes. Okay, so you sign a covenant to be a part of the church, the Lazarus Community. It's a nonprofit organization, and they are under the scope of a church. And so anyway, I have to go to AA meetings. I go to mental health. They have an amazing staff that works out of Creoaks Mental Health Facility. And they stopped at nothing to make sure I had food, I had medical care. If I need a ride to a doctor, they come and get me. There's teams of medical professionals there that want nothing more than to help you. So it was an easy transition. So when I gave up the street life, I was given so much that I'm sitting here well, like I'm well. Like,
Has that changed how you feel about yourself?
well, I still am a little dependent on things that I just kind of feel overwhelmed by, at my own apartment, because I do live at their facility, the Lazarus community. I do live at their facility, and I've been there for about 6 months. So there are things that I need to take on, like my driver's license. I'm still kind of letting go some of the more horrid things that I had to experience when I was homeless.
Like mentally, you mean?
Yes, mentally, yes. So it seemed like the moment that I became a part of society again, I felt a little bit like a circus peanut. I didn't even feel like an animal. I just felt like something that was being thrown at, all the animals to appease them. But now I can look at the future and say, okay, everything's going to be okay. I can do this, and it's okay to start over, because just because I've got a lot of obstacles, I deserve to be in line on time, just like everybody else does. And I'm going to take classes at a college. I'm going to do things that I've never done before, because I'm fixing to have my own apartment, and I'm going to move out of there in about 4 or 5 months. So I'm looking forward to that. And if it weren't for them, I would not be doing any of these things. And
no, keep going.
That's a beautiful process, yeah, that you described.
And I tell you, as much as I feel like the streets are dangerous and gritty, I get to volunteer my time twice a week to help with showers, warm meals, emergency food bags, toiletries. And I love it. I love helping people that need things. You can't go to a doctor's appointment if you need a shower, or a job interview if you aren't clean, and to have somebody help you, like, with the next step to get back on your feet is amazing, because it got that way one day at a time. So it only gets better one day at a time. So, having something to eat makes mental health so much better when you had a warm meal to eat that day. And somebody to say, hey, you're amazing just the way you are. Come in and, tell us what you need, and we will figure it out with you.
I think you described that really well.
Thank you.
And do you feel like there's specific misconceptions people have about unhoused people?
Yeah, I do. I believe that people are very confused. I was just talking about this today. There are people in our military that serve our country every day, and they're the most mightiest Christian army in the world. And they go and they fight for us to be free. And they are very much so free people, and they're just lost. Just because they don't have a vehicle or a credit card, or, yeah, maybe some of them are mentally disturbed, and they need medical help. It doesn't make them wrong, or they should be locked up. They just need help. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a big misunderstanding that people have with homeless people. I was homeless when I was 8 years old, so
I noticed Jen said unhoused,
mm-hmm.
which is really a great way to say that.
Yes, it is.
You were unhoused, because home actually means a place. It's more than just a building. It's
where you feel comfortable.
Yes, a feeling. It's where you feel safe. And so, anyway, I don't know why I shared that, but I feel better.
It's somewhere you feel safe.
Yeah.
You've got warm food in your belly, and you've got a roof over your head.
You want to know
people that care about you.
I'm sorry, I cut you completely off.
That's okay.
So, listening to you, your courage humbles me. And, I just think that we all have our things to overcome in life, and that you still keep fighting, and you still that you're hopeful. I mean, I think if I was in your situation, I don't think I could pull myself up to even go ask for help. So you just seem very, very courageous to me. And a lot of stuff was done to you before you even had a chance.
That's true.
I mean, and what I see too as a common thread is that, I mean,
nice word.
Going through the process of getting help and taking one step in front of the other is like what all of us do in different ways. And we all have struggles and things. And so I just appreciate you describing that, because I could relate to that in ways that I haven't given up because of obstacles that I've faced.
So since we're friends now, could I ask you a question? It's always I want to ask someone homeless. And so I understand, you keep your stuff in a shopping cart, for instance. But some people have 4 and 5 shopping carts. Why do you need 4 or 5 shopping carts if you're unhoused?
Well, there's several ways you could look at it. Some of them,
that's what I'm asking you.
Some of them are so angry and they're so fed up, they just have to do something to tire themselves out so they don't have time to be mad about it no more. So they push weight around and they just work it out on them shopping carts until their anger is gone. So that's why I really feel part of that is. And yeah, some of them, they don't quite understand the concept of getting back on your feet. So I like to tell them just to keep a backpack with a couple days of clothes and race around and get your stuff done, because that's all you need until you get on your feet.
You have 4 shopping carts. You're not moving very much.
That's true.
This is why I think I could be a comedian for the homeless. I'm looking for a career after I retire. You could introduce me.
I would.
And then I could tell jokes.
You guys could go on tour together.
We're friends now, right? Well, trust me, this is serious compared to some of my more lighthearted comments about it. But yeah, your stuff gets stolen. I mean, a big thing is people, they'll steal their IDs. Some of the elderly people that do get a check every month, they'll break their arms, their legs, and take their money from them. Wow. So, yeah, one thing is the state, they require you have an ID for things. And it is fun for, I guess, whoever it is that does horrible things like that to people on the streets to take their identification from them. So, a lot of them.
Other homeless people that do that?
I'm assuming street punks, I guess whatever gang things they do have here, those kind of people.
Now, do you have, so that's what I was going to ask, is there age gap, you have older people that are homeless that kind of group together, and then younger people that kind of group together that are homeless, or is it just all scattered?
It is kind of all scattered. I noticed that the younger ones are migrants from all over the country.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Like all over the world or just all over the country?
No, just all over the country. I've seen them from Colorado, California, Ohio, Michigan.
But the older are from here.
Yes.
That have kind of...
Well, yes.
You are like an encyclopedia of stuff, girl.
Is there a homeless community? Because you mentioned this guy telling you about, hey, go have lunch at Lazarus Community. Is there other supportive people within the unhoused community that...
Well, I can tell you right now, there's only one goal, and that's just to survive one day and do whatever you got to do to climb up out of the streets. So it's not a big collection of buddies or groups of people, which would be, you would think, sensible to beat numbers, safety in numbers. But being a woman and being homeless, the guys have no mercy on you, none. So if you're going to sit on the streets and be a part of what they're doing, they have no mercy on them. So there's a lot less women that are homeless than there are men. So
So how long were you homeless?
about 2.5 years.
Holy cow.
Yes, like I tried hanging out a few times with, a boyfriend or whatever, but because I had that stigma about me of being homeless, it didn't work out at all, and I really didn't see myself as being in a relationship, but I was just trying to fit in wherever I could get in.
Just hang on as much as you could.
Yeah, I did. I mean, by the grace of God, I survived things.
Now, you seem like, how far did you go in school?
Well, I made it to the 11th grade, but I got my GED at 23 after I'd had 2 kids. And then about 10 years ago, I took some classes to try to have a career type job, but of course, it failed, obviously. And
do you like reading?
Well, I'm really more of an outdoors kind of person, but because of my situation, I've tried to be more studious and try to use my brain more than I would my back because, I'm tall and I'm strong. And at this point in my life, I can't just compete with 20-year-olds anymore. I'm almost 50 years old.
Your brain is great. I mean, you have a very sharp brain. So I grew up in an alcoholic home. The home wasn't alcoholic, my dad was, but it was so one of the things that I learned was to watch when danger was coming, because I was never sure on how he would come home. So he might come home and raise a bunch of hell. I just learned to spot that without a word being said. Fast forward, that is really how I make my living now. And so there was skills that I was picking up and surviving that really helped me to do well in life. And so I just tell you that because there's things that you did that you survived for 2.5 years, and then you climbed out of that. It says a lot about how sharp you are.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. I mean, yeah, we sound like we're a lot alike. Like sizing somebody up in 5 minutes is no small thing.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah. Is this safe or do I get the hell out of here? Mm-hmm. I used to could tell when I went to school, we'd have parties when I was in high school, and I could tell when there was going to be a fight 30 minutes before. I could just tell the entire vibe of the place, in a bar or someplace.
Yes. I mean, as tough as I am, I've always been a lady, and I've done this activity you're talking about, and I can say I have escaped fights my entire life. I mean, mental toughness does not mean you walk around beating up all your problems. There's always somebody bigger than you. Yeah. So you're better off using your street smarts, and just backing right on out of that. Causes less pain physically.
Well, there are skills, though, when you do that, Toni, that transfer to successful careers. And so you have the skills to be very successful doing whatever it is you choose to do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you have more there, Jay?
Well, is there anything that
Have you been homeless?
I
Unhoused?
have been for a few months, yeah.
So you did a few months.
Yeah. And traveled around the country with some people, kind of like when you were talking about people from other states, I would run into people, and sometimes I would run into people all over the country that knew each other. And so it wasn't quite the same because I felt like I was choosing that lifestyle. I didn't think of myself as being unhoused or homeless until my stepdad, when I came home, he goes, you're a bum, right? And I was like, I did not think of myself that way. I thought I was just traveling around and
having a good time.
Yes.
Meeting people and going to new places and camping out.
Yeah, it's very different with Toni, just because you had some bad situations happen.
And I had some bad situations happen.
And she has some bad. So you both had bad situations.
Oh, yeah. I
mean, yeah.
Sometimes you do whatever you got to do to get back home.
Yeah.
You will give in. Mm-hmm. You sure will.
We are very honored that you came to be with us today.
Thank you.
It is a pleasure. You are inspiring human being to me.
Thank you.
Definitely a gift.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Well, are you okay?
Yes.
That wasn't too bad, was it?
No, not at all.
After running through the streets homeless, this is a breeze. See, I told you I could do stand up for the homeless.
This is exceptional. This is exceptional for me.
Well, if we ever could do anything, please ask Jennifer.
Okay. I will.
And I'll call Byron.
I was touching on the subjects lightly, so, you want to keep gritty stories, bring me back. I got stories.
Yeah.
If we could do something, I'm serious, we would love to.
Okay.
So the Lazarus Project, is it the Lazarus Project?
The Lazarus Community.
Community sounds...
Yeah, we could plug them, but somehow...
Well, on Wednesdays and Sundays, we do the same activities. Wednesdays, we have somebody from Creoaks come, and they make day appointments, and they get to see a social worker, help you with food stamps, figure out where your Medicaid is.
Now, how do we get in touch with them?
With Creoaks?
Lazarus.
Oh, the Lazarus Community. They do have a website.
And a Facebook page, yeah.
Yes, they do have a Facebook page. I kind of try to stay off grid because I try to stay private with my ongoings right now.
I could see there, girl.
I mean, 2 years of being on the streets, I tried my hardest to get out of the streets, but... They
follow you sometimes.
Well, yeah. Like I said, the person I left, I think he, kind of wanted to see me stay that way. So that's a little bit,
Stay off the grid.
Yes,
we'll just advertise the Lazarus community.
And I'm sure they would take donations. They are a wonderful organization.
You can donate gently used clothes, your talents, if you want to volunteer.
Stand-up comedy.
There you go.
Yes, I'm a little nervous today, but once you get me relaxed...
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm here. I'm here to relax the homeless.
Well, I tell people all the time that comedians are funny to the whole world, but their families, right? So, I'll be... Sometimes my jokes are so cynical. The people I live with are like, but I'm laughing.
Toni, you and I, tag team.
I'm telling you.
We could go
on tour.
Homeless and Black together.
I could do black. I'm down with that.
Okay, I'll be homeless.
So, some of my funnier moments, I talk about not taking a shower, and enjoying that, kept the boys away. I'm not kidding you. They're like, yeah, no, I don't want nothing to do with that one. She ain't had a bath in a while, and I'm like, cool. So, yeah, it's true. I get very comical about things because, crying about it, it will just bring you down. So laugh about it. I've met a collective of people, the ones that are, heavy users of drugs. Well, whatever it is that they are doing, it's really giving them a mania mentally. So like some of the stuff that they would do are just, wow, it's mind blowing to sit and talk to them for even 5 minutes. It's like they just arrived from a whole nother planet with what they've got going on mentally. That's right. They hear things. It's amazing how quickly that helping them makes them change. I mean, it's like night and day. Is if you just start caring about them, they're like night and day.
I've seen it myself in the circles that Jennifer said. I want to thank you for being here. Our time's almost up. Is there anything that you would like to say to wrap us up?
No, good things are coming. I'm fixing to start training service dogs, so I'm really passionate about that. I'm thinking about taking some more legal classes at the college to see how that goes. And my life is just getting better every day.
Awesome. It's so great to have you.
My life is better today because you came in and talked to us.
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good to see you.
Yes, it's very good to see you. We got yoga tomorrow.
That's right.
You're going to take us out?
Stay tuned for our next episode as we continue to explore people's stories in our community and find the common thread.
And if we don't find that, I am going to start doing stand-up comedy in homeless camps. This is Byron Jackson.
I'm Jennifer O'Neill.
Have a great night, everyone. This podcast is brought to you by the Possibilities Podcast platform. Thank you for listening.